Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for attending today. I really, really appreciate Douglas inviting me. I'm pretty amped up. It's really a pleasure. I know one thing. A lot of people talk about having imposter syndrome, of course, right? And this past week, I got a chance to meet all of the presenters and speakers, and it's actually a privilege and an honor to be part of this event. So thank you so much, Douglas, and Control the Room for having me. So today, what we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about fighting isolation and building meaningful relationships through the power of play. We're going to go to this next slide here. My name is Kaleem Clarkson. I am the COO of Blend Me Inc. And basically, we help organizations, startups, and small businesses with the remote employee experience. And that includes a whole bunch of cool stuff. So what we're going to do today is I teamed up with my man David Klasko from Artly Working, and the idea is that we're gonna kind of merge some science, some research, right? Because all of us, as whether we are facilitators ourselves or whether we work for an organization and just want to learn more about facilitation, I think we can all agree that remote work is here. And that's why I was so honored that Douglas invited me to come today, because remote work is out of the bag. It's we're not going back. Of course, there are going to be some organizations that are going to ask people to come back to the office. So I'm very curious to see what those reasons are. I think there's going to be a lot of challenges around organizations who don't think about that. But the idea of this whole workshop that we're going to be doing later on this afternoon is we're going to provide you with some research and maybe some statistics that can really have you okay, I'm sorry. You know what? Sometimes with these virtual things, you got to focus. The Slack chat just got me distracted for a second. So I'm glad that everyone was active in the Zoom. I can't see it. So I'm sorry I couldn't do shout outs. That's my thing. So if you come to the workshop today, you're going to see what I'm talking about. We're going to do shout outs to the area code. So thank you all for doing that. And hopefully you'll come to the workshop and enjoy it some more. So anyway, right back to what I was talking about earlier. We're going to provide you with some research in the importance of isolation and how it can actually have an impact on your actual on your employee experience. And as a facilitator, hey, we got to have some statistics and some research behind what it is that we're doing. So your next client, your next call, if you're talking to somebody and they're like, well, hey, we want to do this, throw a couple of these statistics at them so that you can prove your value. So here we go, OctoQ. Let's see what we got here. So remote work challenges, right? The three major challenges for managing remote teams, there are plenty of challenges that managers are having, but these are the three biggest challenges. Okay, lack of social interaction, right? No ability to be able to interact with your colleagues. As a manager, if you've always been that type of person that's, hey, let me tap your shoulder real quick, then the lack of interaction is definitely a challenge. Same thing with lack of face-to-face supervision. We've had this years and years and years of experience of learning how to manage in the moment. Let me look in the camera for emphasis. Managing in the moment, right? We're now moving to a position in society where everything has to be intentional. So that lack of face-to-face supervision is a big challenge for all of us. I mean, for me as well. And then the third one, lack of access to information. As a manager, you may have other people who you always just kind of tap them on the shoulder real quick, or buzz them real fast to ask a question. But unfortunately, you can't do that now in that remote space. So those are the three major challenges. As far as some of the biggest struggles, as individuals, some of the biggest struggles you can see here. Shout out to Buffer. Always go to their state of remote work. They've been doing it one of the longest out of the ones who are doing it. Love Buffer. Suggest that you check them out. Love it. But in this State of Remote Work report in 2020, you can see the top two biggest challenges with remote work that employees are actually struggling with, right? So you can see collaboration and communication. That's number one. That's tied for number one, and then loneliness. Today, our workshop, what we're hoping is that you can see we're going to have some fun. I can't wait to do this. We're going to act a fool on camera. We're going to act silly, but we're also going to accompany that with some important parts of the remote employee experience, where the power of play helps you alleviate some of these challenges. For example, loneliness and communication and collaboration. So those are the two things we're going to focus on. So the impacts of loneliness in the workplace. Why does it matter, right? Obviously, people in this community, I learned this a lot. This community is very well read, so a lot of this stuff is a lot of people are gonna have seen this. I was in a cool clubhouse room the other day with Adam Grant. It was pretty cool. But basically, when you're lonely, we feel invisible, right? If you feel invisible. And then one of the most powerful ways to fight is just to help others feel seen. I'm sure all of us have kind of gone down this route of, especially as facilitators. I mean, I know this group takes it personal to ensure that everybody is being seen or people being heard. So that's really important. So what is loneliness specifically? It's complex, but it's a set of feelings that occur when intimate and social needs are not met. Notice that intimate and social needs are highlighted there because you need social interaction. I am a remote work advocate. We consult, my partner and I. We consult on remote work, but let's not fake the funk. We need to be sociable. That's what we are actually. We are a tribal species, right? We're not like what's that animal I learned with my daughter? Sonic the Hedgehog. There, the hedgehog is like a animal that lives by itself. I learned that watching cartoons with my daughter, by the way. So the impacts of loneliness quickly, because this is a lightning talk, so I got to keep rocking and rolling fast, right? The physical impacts of loneliness are real. The first one here. Just think about this. Remember cigarettes? Y'all remember that? Remember when cigarettes were? Some of you might remember when cigarettes were cool. Some of you may not. Well, number one, it's as bad for your health as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. That's a lot of butts. That's a lot of huffing and puffing. And we all know how bad smoking is for your health. So just think about that. How bad is isolation and loneliness? It's equivalent to smoking 15 cigarettes a day. It's dangerous being an alcoholic. I'm not a huge fan of exercising. I'm trying to be better, but it's as harmful as never exercising. And twice as dangerous as obesity. So how can we fight loneliness's impact on the workplace? Sorry, the controller is a little bit behind for me. We'll go through some of these real quick. So loneliness, it not only is it physically, does it impact you physically, but it also that impact goes over onto the workplace, right? So lonely workers, they take double the number of sick days. In a lot of business, absences can be very costly for organizations, especially if you're not set up correctly. We've learned that some organizations who are set up correctly, they didn't have very many challenges with the pandemic. Organizations who were not set up correctly obviously had a lot more challenges. So absence can really be a big challenge. Reduces job and task performance. Lonely employees, they feel alienated and less committed. The relationships between teammates can deteriorate. Coworkers kind of perceive lonely people as distant. I mean, think about that in your mind. Like, I'm just lonely. I still like all of you, but I'm just lonely. Just think about how, that perception could be incorrect, right? Like, no, I like all of you. I'm just lonely and I'm feeling it. So you can kind of see there how that has an impact there. Reduction in executive functions, chronic stress, cases in executive causes decline in executive functions such as like, reasoning and decision making. So if, you're executive, it can have a major impact on your ability to kind of get through things like that. This one, number 4, having a best friend at work increased engagement by 7 times. That is one of the things that we found in our research that I found absolutely surprising. And if you think about it, it makes sense, right? Like, you spend more of our waking hours at work than we do with our colleagues. So, if you have, if you have a place where you can celebrate or console about your personal professional lives, when you don't have that in that absence, you can feel really, really lonely. It impacts C-suite executives as much. Actually, half CEOs report feeling lucky. Everyone wants to be their own CEO, right? But it's lonely at the top. You've heard that phrase, I'm sure. And then for new CEOs, it's even worse. It's like nearly 70% of new CEOs feel lonely. So you can really see how it doesn't just impact lower level employees; it impacts employees at all levels. And then last but not least, and we're going to talk about this, decreased engagement due to a lack of trust. The willingness to communicate with others, and you don't feel, because you feel alone, you don't have that confidence. You're not motivated, right? You're not motivated to participate. So that drops, a degree of engagement drops from that. So you can really see how loneliness can have, a financial impact. So for all of you facilitators out there, we'll have these notes and slides for your notes. If you need to show this to some of your clients, I totally urge you to do that, because with the state of remote work moving forward in 2020 and beyond, this has to be a top priority for managers and leaders in companies who are going to be distributed. So how can we fight back against isolation and loneliness? I mean, there are many ways. Of course, this is not the only way. There are so many great sessions that are going on today. The master facilitators, they've been thinking about all of these things for years. So it's anything new, but hey, the power of play. What we're going to figure out today, what we are going to dive into, is we're going to dive into some silliness. I mean, I like to be silly. And I think we all like to be silly. I mean, let's not face it. So I mean, like, let's not trip. I like to say that. It's one of my favorite sayings. So come along and play at 1:30 Central Standard Time. Come with us. Sorry, I'm hyping my session, but we got to. It's a lightning talk, so we're gonna hype our session a little bit. So, why improv games? Not only are they fun, but builds confidence, increases engagement amongst your teams, creativity, so I'm not an actor, and my homie David Klasko, he's gonna talk to us a lot about this. But when we were passionate and we were just having these discussions, you don't think about, I don't anyway, and I apologize, but you just forget sometimes when you're watching a movie how skillful they are at their craft, at their trade. They practice, and it just seems so easy because we're just watching a show or a movie. You don't even think about it. But creativity, it's a muscle. He was explaining it's a muscle, and you can actually practice it. So that's something that we're gonna dive into. It helps you practice empathy. Is it for everyone? Some people are more introverts than others, but these are all skills that serve us well, and interpersonal skills are skills that serve us well in any industry. So yes, they are for everyone. And then it also provides higher inclusion. It's a structure. I'm sure that you've seen in some of these conversations, our job as facilitators, right, is to some sort of structure in the meeting so that people feel comfortable and sharing and participating. So you have to do different things to ensure that you have different modalities to allow people to participate. Well, this space, um, it helps you produce some sort of structure so that you can, if you want your team to spend quality time, having a structure helps. So this kind of leads to that. So I hope that I provided you with a little bit of information. We're going to get into some of the research, but loneliness is important. Loneliness is a real thing that can have a major impact on your business, financial line, can have an impact with your clients. So hopefully we gave you a little bit of research. Hopefully we piqued your interest. So let me just show you. We were going to play a video here, but hey, pictures are worth 1,000 words, so you can get the idea. We are going to act a fool. We're going to act silly. And hopefully we get some laughs. But then we're also going to, break into groups and talk about how we could use some of these games in our own meetings, and also, talk about some of the challenges that you could see with some of these games. So with all that said, hope to see you soon.